Good evening and thank you again. Welcome for tuning in to Let's Talk Business. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, and on Amazon Fire TV. And now on KGNG Channel 26.8 TV in Las Vegas. Listen to us on PHLV Radio app or get our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Any of those ways, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. I have a very good show tonight. We've got two great guests. And of course, we're going to talk about my favorite thing. I've said it many times in the show. I love whenever I see primary cares open because we are so short of them. And we have two guests tonight. The first one is my very good friend, the handsome and talented Richard Aguila.
Man,
good evening,
you
Richard.
read that teleprompter very well, my friend. Very, very well. Good evening to everybody, all the viewers of Let's Talk Business with Sonny Vinuya.
Thank you,
Pleasure
Richard.
to be here.
And our second guest for tonight, she is the owner of VIP Primary Health Care, as well as Amalura Center. Arlene Rillo. Hi, Arlene. How are you?
Hi, and yes, I do agree with the introduction. Very apt for Richard.
You guys, thank you.
Well, let's start with this. Richard, let's do a quick intro. Please tell us what you do.
Absolutely. Sonny, a pleasure to be with you again on Let's Talk Business with Sonny Vinuya. My name is Richard Aguila with Advantage Medicare Group, and, pleasure to be with you, all of you again. Want to greet all of our viewers from all over the world. We're not just local, we're everywhere. So want to greet everybody this evening. Tonight, what Advantage Medicare Group does is not only bring benefits and resources to our most vulnerable, the seniors, of course, people in Las Vegas and in other parts of the United States. They know me for Medicare, and they know they can count on me and my team to bring them the latest information on anything that has to do with resources for the senior community. And it really is my pleasure to be with Arlene Rillo, MD of VIP Primary Health Care here in Las Vegas. The number one need that it's everywhere in the United States. It's not just Las Vegas, but it is a huge shortage of primary care providers, and specifically ones that are MDs.
Yes.
I mean, it's sort of like if you're looking through a website of some medical group, you're going to find a lot of NPs. You're going to find a lot of APRNs. You're going to find nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But MDs have become somewhat of a rarity.
Exactly.
And scarcity. Yes.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
and I'm so happy to support my good friend, of many years, Dr. Arlene Rillo, and I'm so happy, and congratulations for going out there on your own.
Yeah.
And and really
taking the plunge.
Taking the plunge, but I think more so than taking the plunge, you have made yourself available to do more things for your patients, like what the dream always is.
Yes.
So please tell us about yourself.
So I'm Dr. Arlene Rillo. A little bit about me. So I'm the medical director and a physician of VIP Primary Health Care, Las Vegas. I'm originally from the Philippines, so I would say I have a dual residency. In another lifetime, I was an OBGYN, and then opportunity kind of pulled me, to the U.S., and I did the whole kind of like shebang, took the exam, and got matched into family medicine. So I think that there's a reason why I got matched to family medicine. Personally, I have two set of elderly, aging kind of like parents, my parents and my in-laws. And then that's kind of like really where I really saw and, the beauty of having a steward of somebody's like, healthcare. More so as, somebody ages, there's a lot of like chronic medical condition. They might need a lot of like specialists. And, just kind of sometimes like grasping the disease itself, it's already confusing, more so if you're we're asking, patients in that age group to kind of call different, specialists. And, these days, a lot of them you can't get to, you never, hardly get to talk to a live person. It's like recording. So that's very confusing with them. So, that's kind of like how I kind of first, thought of like, this is an area where I can be of like help. I do see 18 years old and above, but my focus really is, really to help our,
Older folks.
Older folks.
Yeah.
definitely.
Dr. Rillo, you said it a little bit earlier. You took the plunge. Obviously, you've been practicing for a while now. You had a soft opening in November. Can you tell our audience what was like to go through that? Okay, am I going to go out on my own?
Yes.
And then how does it feel now that you're doing it?
So, being, this is like, you went to the training and then I start working as an employee. So I never really thought that I was really going to open like, a practice because like, do I really need that, the admin side, the business owner side, and then just, being the physician. But, the more I kind of, practice in my, old place, I basically was doing, only Medicare Advantage. So there are I have a lot of ideas fresh out of training, a lot of ideas about how I can improve certain processes, remove duplicate works, how can we, increase access and patient satisfaction. But you know how it is in the corporate world, it's really
100%.
hard to sometimes,
It's a lot
get
of
the
barriers.
idea above. So that kind of started my, frustration, and then I'm finding that I'm doing less time for my patients, spending, less time with them and doing a lot of background work that has nothing to do with them. So I kind of thought of how can I really, help, my patients better and at the same time give me more satisfaction. How can I make really a dent to, their needs. So I thought of I think I need to work in a place where I can be freer to do what I think it's the best for them.
Good. So you can really practice as the MD, right?
Absolutely. Sonny, you and I have had multiple conversations about, our medical, our medical infrastructure here, especially for seniors.
Yeah.
Is so huge.
Yeah.
It's possibly next to Boca Raton, Florida, and that area. I think we're a close second, or maybe we're ahead of the game now.
I think we're number one.
We're number one.
Yeah, and it's continued to grow.
Yes, it's going to continue to grow. 700 seniors coming here every single month from all parts of the United States. But with that influx in growth, what's happening with the medical networks that have the employed model, which she's talking about, which she was in before she struck out on her own, is that you have and most people don't realize this. They see between sometimes a maximum of it can be as many as almost 30 patients a day.
Wow.
Okay, within let's just say an 8-hour period, how many minutes does that really give you per patient? There's not a lot of quality.
Yeah.
And
you're just
time.
talking about a face to face.
That's right.
You still have to kind of return back calls.
That's right.
Review results. That you have to squeeze that in your work day.
Yeah.
So depending on how much sacrifice you want to do, you can be able to tackle all those. But at the expense of extending more hours and time away from family.
Yeah. A lot of MDs out there on the employed model, it's hours that they're not paid for, which a lot of our viewers don't know. Dedicate a lot of time to do these extra things just to make sure that they're not missing anything.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a huge proponent. You and I are a huge proponent of private practices and independence. Like Dr. Rillo's practice now, they're able to spend more time dedicate more of their detailed knowledge to someone's particular particular ailment or chronic condition or something like that. And that's something that I tell people when they ask me. They always ask me, hey, what do you think about this doctor and that doctor? I said, well, here's the thing. There's a lot of great doctors out there.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have to look at the environment that they're in.
Yeah.
What type of environment are they in? Are they in a corporate managed structure type of thing, or are they in a private practice where they can kind of call the shots? They can call the shots and really be an advocate to really advocate for your health, for your particular situation. So, really bravo to you to really.
You.
I mean, we know it's tough out there, starting anything nowadays in today's business. But you know what? I mean, you will be truly successful because there is a huge need that you are filling.
And like what you said, like, yes, I'm a big advocate for my patients. So a lot of times, so there's, family physician really holds a very, important role in somebody's health. Like, even though we're not specialists, we know the generalities of a certain condition. And then when it's, beyond our scope, we do refer. But the important role that, I see family physician, and I, do that, is that when I ask for notes and all that, because, they would go to their specialist. And then this is 90% of the time they'll come back and say, I want to talk about, the condition that you sent me to the specialist. And in my mind, well, that's the reason why I sent you to your specialist. So you guys can talk about that. But, it's either, I guess, they're intimidated by specialists or, time constraint is also a problem, so they don't get into the details. So that's kind of where our role is very important, where we can review everything, and then interpret the notes, to them.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, Doctor, something that Richard said, specifically with the time, right? And, a lot of people say, okay, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes is enough. But tell me, isn't it true sometimes you learn so much from a patient just by asking them questions, talking to them, and actually interviewing them about the condition, right? Yeah.
It's true that, most of the diagnosis can be done through history taking. And a lot of times these days, the art of history taking is actually, kind of getting a backseat towards just going straight through labs and imaging to make the diagnosis. So, I still do believe, in, if you just listen and ask the appropriate question, you will get a good idea of what's, wrong with them. But I'm also a realist, I'm not saying also in my clinic, time won't be the issue.
Yeah.
But what I can tell is I've already kind of thought about it. How can we kind of improve that? So, things that we're doing is when patients call, I have a staff that actually calls them and do the pre-charting. So they were already going to be ahead of the game. So a lot of the history taking has already been done, So, and we explain them because we should be a partner, because eventually I tell them you're the captain of the ship, but, I will help you make decisions. And then for me to be able to really, know what's appropriate for you, I need to have as much information. And then I tell them to kind of, so that if you want us to have more time to really talk about the what you came in for, we need to do a little bit of prepping, and they're okay with it. So when I come into the room, I already know they have this, they've tried this is that. So I don't ask them about it, which is actually one of the reasons why they are also frustrated.
Yeah.
Because somebody asked them about it, physicians come into the room, and they get asked about the same thing again.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
Yes.
Okay. We're going to start talking about the partnership that you have. And of course, we're going to talk about your reopening.
Yes.
But
Yes,
let's
yes,
take a
absolutely.
quick break. When we get back, we'll get more questions with Dr. Rillo and, of course, my friend Richard. We'll be
Thank you,
right
sir.
back.
Appreciate that.
This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio. PHLV Radio.
Welcome back. Again, we're here talking to Dr. Arlene Rillo and, of course, my friend Richard. So, Dr. Rillo, I've always talked about partnerships here in the show and how important that is. You've got a great partner here. Of course, I'm not biased. It's my friend, right? No, I'm just kidding.
We're not biased.
No.
Now, tell me how important it is to have such a good support like Richard.
Yeah, so it's very, very important, I'll break it down, from a business standpoint. They're very good at spreading the word, out there. There's a new doctor in town. It's also very important because we could focus on what we're good at, which is medicine.
Yeah.
I personally don't know kind of the nitty-gritty about what's included in this kind of certain plan. So I forgot to, I will stress this. It's also very important to be in the right plan for you, a customized plan. And I think this is what this partnership can bring. So to also help my patients, with their specific needs, talk to somebody who knows, what is covered or not, and then help them, make that decision. I think that's also very important.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Richard, tell us that importance of you supporting Dr. Rillo.
Well, there's a lot of people in town that do what I do. A lot of people nationwide that do Medicare brokerage. But one thing that they don't do is they don't really spend the time with a provider and really get to know them and what their weaknesses and strengths and everything are. And they don't spend any time with the staff either. One thing that I always try to do is when I recommend a provider to a potential, client or member of a plan, I can truly, honestly say that I've met that person.
Yeah.
That's very, very important that you've met that person, that you've broken bread with that person. You kind of, you already know, how they work and what type of environment they're going to go into. And for me, recommending, her practice and her as an MD, it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer because I know that they're going to get the care that they need on the plan that they're supposed to be on. Now, let's talk about plans real quick.
Yeah.
Arlene Rillo is on the biggest and most powerful network here in the entire state of Nevada. It's Optum.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
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 There are wonderful networks here.
Yeah.
But we have about 15 plans that are Medicare related here. But one thing that's very, very unique about her specifically and her practice is with the 3 plans that they take, which is the United Healthcare, a lot of people are familiar with the AARP Medicare Advantage, and also the Walgreens Plan 1.
Okay.
Humana. The Humana 056, the Gold Plus plans, the PPOs, and also Anthem.
Okay.
Okay? She takes 3 of the most diverse plans, and I say diverse because they answer different needs for different types of people.
Yeah.
If you're chronic diabetic, if you have COPD, okay, I've been around you too long, you doctors, because I know how to talk about this stuff.
I know.
It's a little bit scary, isn't it?
Yes.
In the case of the
good.
Filipino population,
Yeah.
my first question is, Nanay, Tatay, are you a part of the Metformin Club? Oh yes, yes I am. And it's those type of things that we know how to ask my entire team. So that way, at least, when we sign somebody up on a plan, here's the procedure. We find the right plan for them. Okay. We find the right PCP for them. One of them is Dr. Rillo.
Yep.
And the other thing is we communicate directly with Dr. Rillo's practice to say, okay, you're getting this patient, number one. Here's the plan that they're going to be on so that they can start a chart. Okay. And then also some quick notations about what we observed about that new patient.
Wow. Okay.
Are they, and I asked them questions. Do you have memory loss? Is food or transportation a concern for you?
Wow. Yeah.
Are you depressed?
Yeah.
Okay. Those are the type of questions that no normal Medicare broker asks, but we do. Because we understand the type of relationship and the communication that we have to have with the provider. Yeah. Because the more information we give them, at least when they walk through the door of her practice, she'll be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I see it, I see it." So that's the true partnership there. That communication between my team and her team.
Well, I gotta commend you for that, because that's the real commitment to.
Yeah.
Excellent customer service right there, and caring, because you're going out of your way really to make sure that this patient is well taken care of,
Yes,
especially when
that's
you hand it
correct.
to
You have
to
to.
Dr. Rillo.
You have to, because
Yeah.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
If for some reason, and clients don't know, or patients don't know to do this, they may pick up the phone and say, gosh, I need a refill.
Yeah.
And they call me. Or they text me, which happens very often.
No kidding.
Because, people think I am a doctor. I am not a doctor.
Direct line to the pharmacy.
Well,
I'm
the
not
lingo.
a doctor. And it's nice that they think of me that way, but
Yeah.
I'm not. And just to stress that. But what I do is I text them right back and I say, you know what? I will get this information to your provider.
Okay.
So do you know what I do? I text her
Yeah.
staff right away. Call this person. Here's the name, date of birth. They need RX refill. They take it from there. Because, they're going to call whoever the first thing that comes to mind. And most brokers, right, they're going to say, well, that's their hands off. That's not my thing.
Call your doctor.
They don't even want to say call your doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why it's very very important that we have that line of communication. We have to help them retain the patient.
Like I
And
said,
you'll be
excellent service.
You'll be surprised. It's just the simple things that really makes this frustrating for them.
But I'm sure it makes
Yes,
your life
it
easier
is.
too, right? Knowing, explaining those things.
Yeah.
It gives you a little history already,
Exactly.
even before you see our
or
patient.
kind of like give context, like like if for example, like somebody's a little bit like anxious and seeing a doctor, and then they come in, I don't know that, and then they kind of it kind of give you a different vibe, and you may misunderstand them. But knowing a little bit of background, and then you kind of know, okay, so I know like they're nervous, so okay, I'll probably not ask them too scary not too scary question, but I mean, like, know now the first deal is like just to make them comfortable before we delve into the medical part.
Very good. Tell us about VIP primary health care. Just give us some. I'm sure you tell us about your services. How many in your team?
So VIP, like I was, thinking about like, what to call, the practice. Like I get a lot of like questions like, is this a concierge medicine? Because, it reflects like, why do we have a lot of those concierge? Because the access, they're frustrated, with the traditional like insurance-based clinic. So I thought of like, hey, giving somebody a VIP feel doesn't mean you have to pay extra. You can get that with insurance base. So that's kind of like why I came up with the name. I want like to give everybody that kind of VIP, because that's kind of, a common complaint. They don't feel like they're being heard, listened to, like they're not important.
Yeah.
So I want everybody coming, to my door and, to feel that when I'm in front of them, talk to them, they're very important to me.
No, that's a good thing, especially with what Richard was saying earlier. Even with his side where they communicate with him to go through you. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, it takes weeks for me to get an appointment with a doctor.
Yeah.
I get frustrated sometimes.
It's
That's why.
And you and I, we need it most, man. We need it the most.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I agree. Access,
He has
like,
hypertension too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but you know what? In our clinic, there's like different ways to get like access. So one thing I also talk to my patients is that sometimes, like, you know, with especially in our older, you know, patients, so
Yeah.
they always link access to being seen physically in the clinic. So I all educate them now that, you know, you the way I see it is, as long as I solve your problem.
Yes.
It can be a phone call.
Yes.
It could be a message relayed to my medical assistant. It can be a video call. It can be an in-person clinic. So,
Yeah.
you know, not all the time, you know, that's true. Like, you know, you'll be able to get in, you know, be seen by me kind of physically.
Right.
But I promise you, I will help you. I will get answer to your question. And that's the most important part of it.
Believe me, that's
Amen.
huge. Access is huge.
Amen.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of access, let's talk about this great location she has.
please,
Okay.
please.
So your practice is located at 3195 St. Rose Parkway, Suite 212 in Henderson, 89052. Now, back in my former life, as a hotel director and manager, I was over at the Green Valley Ranch, which is not too far from this location. I have to say, wonderful choice on location. You know, talk to us a little bit about how you came to kind of that area and huge need over there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of fell in love with that, you know, place because one, it has a huge parking.
Yes, it does. Yeah, that's
right.
It's
So-
free. It's free.
It's free.
Oh,
That's free. Okay, that's good. You got me
I
there.
know,
All right.
it's the
Okay.
little things, right?
All right,
Because
right.
like,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes it's like you're already like
Yeah.
running late, like, you know, or you're kind of like knees like hurting you,
Right.
and then, you know, last thing you want to worry about is like parking like so
Far,
far
yeah.
and then having to, you know, walk,
Right,
you know.
right.
So that I kind of, so see, I always have my kind of elderly folks in, you know, mind,
That's right.
you know.
Good.
But
Wonderful, yeah.
so yeah, so it's also in this kind of medical kind of district area.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
different specialists are, you know, very
Right.
nearby. So there's like a desert radiology, a radiology center there. There's a lot of like labs nearby. And by the way, you know, I'm working on, you know, so getting connected with different labs. So I, you know, so my patients who wants like, you know, the convenience of just going there and you know in a clinic and getting their lab drawn, you know, that can happen. I also invested on several you know, point of care kind of testings. Just to give an example, like, you know, their, you know, A1C, you know, they can have what their number is like in less than 2 or before the visit is like, you know, over the, I don't need to send them to the lab. Also, what's the most common reason why sometimes, you know, patients are referred to urgent care when they have cough and cold? It's just to rule out, do they have flu? Do they have strep? Do they have COVID? So they sit there for how many hours?
Yes.
And then just and set home. So I have that machine, you know. So we have a protocol, of course, like if they're, you know, have cough and colds. But what I'm saying is that I don't need to send them to urgent care just to have that test.
That's
I have that
huge.
in the clinic, and then I can appropriately tailor my recommendation.
Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
So yeah, so clinic, you know, we have an elevator, my hallway. So everything I have kind of put in the clinic is well thought of. Like the passageway are very wide to accommodate those that have a need for a wheelchair. I invested on an examining table that, you know, the old style examining table, wooden. You have to use this tool.
I gotta see
wobbly.
that.
I'm so afraid to ask my patients to, you know, lay down because they may fall, and, you know, but, you know, it can lower down as like, you know, to the height of a toddler. So I want to give them that sense of independence. Like somebody in a wheelchair doesn't, you know, they want still to do things, you know, independently. They can do that because it's just at a level of their wheelchair. They can do their own transfer. So little simple things that I know sometimes, like, patients don't think about,
Sure.
but I want to like tell them there's reasons why that particular exam table is there, why I kind of chose to get those, point of care testing. It's actually to save them from a trip to, the urgent care, and also be a steward of antibiotics.
Okay.
Yes.
Little things count.
Little things count, man. Little
All
things
right.
count. You got
We're
all the bases
closing up
covered.
soon, so let's talk about what are we doing?
You know what? With every new practice that opens up, it's important to have that soft opening, which you have done. But the exciting part, and that's where you come in, my friend, is the grand opening.
You got it.
Grand
Yes.
opening, and we will update all of our viewers on exactly when that is going to be, but and you and I have been involved in a couple of these now, and the exciting part for the community is just being able to come and visit your practice, and kind of meet you in person, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And so that to me is an important, very integral part. We have local, political officials there, county commissioner, things like that, so that they know what is going on in their
Yes.
district.
Exactly.
So yes, and Sonny, thank you for opening all of those doors.
No problem.
For the people that you and I partner with. So yeah,
Thank you very much.
Yep.
too,
Talk
for-
about your chamber. I want to please.
Well, it's
please,
a great
please,
chamber,
please.
the
Yes.
NBA API chamber, and they'll be there to support you 100%.
That's right.
And especially with this particular chamber, we truly want to bring medical in the forefront because of the issues that we have, the shortages that we have, things that we can improve on quality-wise. So they'll definitely be there to support you, and we'll bring as much people as I can to support to
Yes.
help.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But it's
That's
a
right.
great chamber. It's something that we can
That's
really
good.
work with
Okay,
in different areas. So yeah.
Absolutely. Diversity.
Exactly.
Diversity is where it's
100%.
at. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
speaking of quality, I also partnered with UNLV. I started with their
Nice.
public health kind of department.
Okay.
So I'm big on mentoring.
Okay.
So I partnered with them. So I will be kind of like accepting like students that want to do shadow and kind
Fantastic.
of see.
That's
Later
awesome.
on, my plan is also to reach out to the nursing and the medicine community, if they need rotations, and see how a family physician kind of works. So we can maybe,
Perfect.
encourage them to, consider family medicine their specialty,
Absolutely.
and then retain them here.
We need them here.
Yeah, retain
Yes, we do.
them here.
We do. Absolutely.
No, I'm chuckling when you said that because our chamber has a junior board, and the president of that junior board is actually the president of the alumni for UNLV.
Oh, okay.
Well, definitely, it's a perfect connection. Yeah,
Yes.
Perfect connection.
Yes.
perfect connection. So.
Right.
Okay, so we are nearing the end. Sorry, it's a 30-minute show. It's
Absolutely,
just
absolutely.
so good.
You know what? So anyway,
Yeah.
I want to ask everybody,
Please.
that all of our viewers, please, if you haven't already, okay, please, I encourage everybody to check out VIP Primary Care here in Las Vegas, and it is on 3195 St. Rose Parkway, Suite 212 in Henderson, Nevada 89052, and it's right off of Seven Hills.
Yes.
Yes, that's why it's
Dr.
my
Rillo?
favorite address.
Any,
Yeah,
any
that's right.
final word?
Yeah,
Yes,
so,
final word, final
I
word.
encourage you to check out our clinic. You can call, just to schedule like a tour, even though you're not like, in the process of like, changing or, a primary care physician, but even you may, who knows, you may have a relative or a friend that's, asking for one. So yeah, now like a very good, place to go, and we promise you that you won't regret that choice.
Perfect. Dr. Rillo, Richard, thank you so much for coming
Thank you,
in.
Sonny.
I truly appreciate it. And
Thank
to
you.
our audience, that is our show for tonight. Good night, and see you next Monday.
Thank you.
Excellent.